Hello, it's Regina. Welcome back to my haunted library. Have you ever looked at your shelves and wondered if all that money you spend on books might actually be an investment? Today I'm going to take a look at my Stephen King collection and compare it with some notes I found online about what these books are worth and see if I have any treasures in my collection. So let's begin with the beginning, and that is Carrie. So Carrie was Stephen King's breakout novel, and it didn't really make a big splash until it was released as a paperback. So if you have a first edition copy of the hardcover, you have a treasure. So let's take a look at my book and see how it measures up. So this information is coming from the StephenKingCollector.com website, which I will link below. So Carrie was published by Doubleday in 1974, and this, I believe, is a second or perhaps third printing. So how do we find out if it's a true first edition? There were only 30,000 copies printed originally, and it is now worth $700 to $1,200. Whew. More if it's signed, of course. And this is kind of a bit of a treasure hunt. So on page 199, you will find the code P6, and that will let me know if this is a true first edition. I'm so excited. Let's see. Okay, I'm on page 199. I'm looking for the code, and usually they're like in the gutter, I think that's called. I am not finding this code. And it's also supposed to have a print price of $5.95 here, and this doesn't. I don't think this is a first edition, although a lot of times when it is a third edition, they'll say that. And a lot of times if it's a first edition, it says that. And sometimes it's on the ISBN number. This ends with a 4. This starts with a 0 and ends with a 4, so maybe it's the 4th printing. Not sure. But this is a nice copy anyway. I don't think I have a treasure here, but I'm happy to have this lovely hardcover in a very good condition. So let's go on to the next one, and that is Salems Lot. So let's take a look at Salems Lot, 1975, also by Doubleday. So the first state. There are 3 different unique states, and if you have the first 2, you have a real treasure. So let's see. The state refers to differences in the dust jacket due to errors in the printing. This happens sometimes, like, or if they change the cover. The book itself is the same across all 3 states, and all 3 states show the words first edition on the copyright page, and code Q37 on the inner margin of page 439. I don't think I have this, because I didn't see first edition. Let me see. I don't see it there. Let's look for the secret code. This is what I do with my free time. That is the last page of the book, and no secret code. I don't think I have the treasure. So the first state, the front flap on the dust jacket has an unclipped price of $8.95 in the top right corner, and mine does not have that price. And in the text, it refers to Father Cody instead of Father Callahan. So someone made a mistake. Then in the second state, the $8.95 is clipped off and the price $7.95 is printed on instead, and Father Cody is changed to the correct of Father Callahan. And the current value of that is $700 to $900. It doesn't say about the first state. Okay, I'm a little confused. And then the third state, the revised flap shows an unclipped price of $7.95, and the correct Father Callahan is printed current value $200 to $350. So I don't have either of those, but I do have a nice hardback copy of it, which is in good condition, and I'm happy to have it. So goes back on the shelf. Let's take a look at the next one, which is The Shining. So I have a nice hardback copy of The Shining I got on eBay pretty recently. I just read this book and did a review, if you're interested. The Shining, the first edition of 2,500 copies, Issued with a dust jacket and price of $8.95. On the copyright page, you will see the words first edition, and then there's a code. All right, no price on the dust jacket. I'm already not doing too well here. I think this is, definitely don't think this is a first edition. I don't see first edition on here. This came out in 1977 by Doubleday. And let's look for the secret code. All right, so no secret code. This is not a first edition, but it is a nice, probably third or second printing in good condition. Okay, so here is my copy of The Stand. So let's take a look. It's in pretty good shape. The dust jacket is a little torn here. That would take some of the value away. There's a little bit of maybe some water damage here. So if you are looking at your book's values, all of those things, of course, come into consideration. The condition is very important. A first edition of The Stand, 70,000 copies, issued with a dust jacket and price of $12.95. Ooh, does say $12.95. Okay, so this is copyright 1978 by Stephen King. It is a first edition. It says it. Okay, so it says first edition. I'm getting excited. And on page 823, I'll find the code T39. So this will cinch it. Deep in the gutter, I see the code T39. This edition is missing around a quarter of the original text. Current value, $250 to $350. Woo! So I finally have a treasure on my shelf, so yay! In a 1990, and Stephen King fans will probably know this, Doubleday released a 400,000 copy first edition of the complete and uncut Stand. And that current value is $30 to $50. All right, so that's kind of exciting. So the next book, I do have this one, is Night Shift. So a first edition of Night Shift was 1,200,000 copies, issued with a dust jacket and a price of $8.95. Okay, again, no price on this. On the copyright page, you will see the words first edition. Now, this is not a first edition because it lists 76, 77, 78, although those could be when these, it's a book of short stories, so it could be when the short stories were published, but it does not say first edition. And let's see about the code, page 336. See, all that money I'm spending on books, it's an investment. 336 is the last page, and I do not see a code. So, no, this one, if this were a first edition, it would be a current value of $500 to $700. But this is a nice, just tore the dust jacket a little bit, whoops, just knocked $10 off of it. This is a nice hardback cover, probably like the second or third printing. Next up is The Dead Zone. Now, these are just the books that I have. There are other books that he published that I'm skipping over just because I don't have them. Okay, so my copy of The Dead Zone is hardback. The dust jacket is a little bit damaged. So it says on the copyright page, you will see the words first edition, and I do not see that. This was published in 1979. It does have the address, Viking's original address. It has an issue price of $11.95. I don't see that on here, so I'm guessing that, oh, and it also has a different address. For Viking Press, it should be 625 Madison Avenue, and this is 40 West 23rd Street. So I'm guessing this is not a first edition. So here is my copy of Thinner, which was a novel that Stephen King released under the pen name Richard Bachman. And this is in pretty good shape. This was copyright 1984 by Signet Classics. All right, so let's take a look at, oh, and the inscription, the dedication is to my wife, Claudia Inez Bachman. I feel like maybe there was like some like sexy thing going on between Stephen King and Tabitha King where they were like calling each other these Richard and Claudia. Never know. All right, so published under the pen name, a first edition copy of 50,000 issues with a dust jacket and price of $12.95. There's no price on this one. First edition copies will say first printing and have the line on, they give a certain number, numerical value. Let's take a look. This is the first Bachman book to be printed as a hardback, it says. Okay, so I think I'm striking out on this one too. But it is a nice hardback version of it, probably a third or second or fourth printing. All right, so next up is Firestarter. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but as I imagine, as King became more popular, there were more books printed, and that would also affect the value because, of course, the rarer they are, like Carrie or some of the earlier ones, the less they were printed. Now he's more popular, and as we go, my guess is that they become less valuable. Okay, so Firestarter. I have a nice hardback copy of that. I always liked Firestarter. I like the movie too. So the first edition is 100,000 copies were printed. So as he's gotten more popular, they do more printing more of his books. Issued with a dust jacket and price of $13.95. They're getting more expensive too. Okay, there's no price on this. Maybe they only put a price on the first one. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Are any other book collectors out there? I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so as with many Viking editions, this book can be hard to authenticate as a true first edition. Look at the tips below. Current value 35 to 50. Look for the words first published in 1980. And then it also gives the size, which I don't have a ruler on me, so I don't really know about that. It gives the Madison Avenue address, and this is the West 23rd Street address. So this is after they moved. And 2 color boards, black and orange. It's just black with gold lettering. So no, this is not, I say it's not valuable. It's probably not worth $50, but it's worth $20 or however much I spent on it. I don't remember. I think I got this one on eBay too. So next we have Cujo. Okay, here's Cujo. A nice hardback version of it. Look at that handsome guy on the back. He was definitely rocking the beard. So a first edition printed 150,000 copies with the dust jacket at $13.95. Here we go. And again, it's Viking, so I'm looking for the original Madison Avenue address. Again, I think I have a first edition here. And first published in, here we go. First published in 1981. I see 1981. I don't see first published. No secret codes, but 2 color boards, black and tan. So let's take a look at that. Okay, I think I do have a first edition here. Current value, getting excited, $15 to $25. Okay, next we have Pet Sematary. So Pet Sematary printed 250,000 copies, issued with a dust jacket and a price of $15.95. Okay, I have the $15.95. Secret code is there. So again, I do have a first edition, and this current value is $25 to $35. That's Pet Sematary. All right, what's next? The Tommyknockers. Okay, so I have the Tommyknockers, and I've not read this one. First edition copy of 500,000 with a dust jacket price of $19.95. Oh, I have that. And current value $10. Permissions to come under the number line. I do not see that, but there's a lot of fine print. And honestly, even if it were a first edition, it's only valued at $10, which is probably what I paid for it. So, and then I also have Skeleton Crew, which I don't, for some reason, I did not put that on my list for looking it up. So I'm just going to do a quick look at Skeleton Crew, and maybe there is a It says first edition on here. This was printed in 1985 by G.P. Putnam Sons, and a limited first edition of this book has been published by Scream Press, but that's not Scream Press. I'm guessing that the Scream Press one is probably worth more than this one. I always kind of liked that cover with the monkey. And then the other two books that I have are Needful Things and 4 Past Midnight, and let's take a look at those, and that'll kind of round up my collection. Okay, so Needful Things, which I have not read. These King books are so huge. It takes a lot to read them. This is broken here, so that would definitely affect the value of it. That's cool. I didn't realize it was illustrated. I have no idea what this book is about. All right, this Viking in 1991 on the dust jacket. Doesn't have the dust jacket price. And on the copyright page, it says first published by Viking Press, which I do not see. So I'm guessing this, even if it were first edition, it says $10 to $15. So, you know, this is just a book that I have on my shelf. I'm not looking to retire on any of this stuff. And then 4 Past Midnight, I don't even know where I got this. So the first edition has Stephen King in gold on the front cover. It does say Stephen King in gold, but I don't know if they mean the cover. I don't know if they mean this or the dust jacket. I'm guessing they mean the cover. So again, this is just a nice hardback book that goes back on my shelf, and I'm not looking to retire on any of this. So I've been through all my Stephen King books. Now I do have more paperbacks, but I'm not going to get into those. Oh, I also have Sleeping Beauties by Stephen and Owen King, and I picked that up at Ollie's for $3.99. So maybe that will increase in value. So all my books together, just looking at the value according to this website, comes to a whopping, not enough to retire on, but it's kind of fun to take a look at it. So let me know in the comments below if you collect books. Take a look at your shelves and see if maybe you have any hidden treasures there. And if you are a collector, I would love to hear from you, especially if you're a collector of Stephen King books. And I have found some of them on YouTube, on booktube. Even these paperbacks from hell are becoming extremely collectible because I've just noticed that the price has gone up. So I don't know if that's just speculation or if it's, I guess true value is what someone is willing to pay for it. But if you're like me, I just read for pleasure and I don't think of it as anything, any kind of investment. But you never know, you might be holding some treasures on your shelf. So let me know in the comments below if you collect books or if you have any hidden treasures and maybe discovered some secret codes in your book. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.